Going on, guys? Just got inside from my beachside house. Again, palm trees galore here in Buffalo, New York. And the misery never ends. 6 straight losses for this absolute joke of a team. Again, they just lost today 5-2 to the 500 Utah Hockey Club that, they have good goaltending, but they don't put up numbers like that. 5 goals. You're up 1-0 after the first. An absolute joke. Let's get right into it. Again, it starts at the top. Terry Pegula, he lucked himself into a good GM. Luckily, we drafted Josh Allen. You can keep the Bills all you want, but sell the Sabres. This is going on 14 years of an absolute joke of an ownership. Multiple GMs have been here, multiple head coaches, multiple star players. Nothing seems to work. Again, do you have a bad GM right now? Yes, but keep in mind, he's a puppet for Terry Pegula. Pegula is an absolute joke and a disgrace to the city. He has to sell this team if he wants to stay face. Again, with the Bills, he's done a great job, yada, yada, whatever. But the reason he's done such a good job with the Bills is he keeps his nose out of it. With the Sabres, he's involved. We hear it from Kevin Adams all the time. Terry's involved. Terry's involved. Well, guess what? Terry maybe shouldn't be involved because what has he done right for this team? Absolutely nothing. He picks terrible coaches, terrible GM options, drafts terrible players. It's just a mess with this team, right? Again, Kevin Adams, he looks good in the draft. Other than that, he's been a terrible GM. Cannot get the big fish. Has an absolute mockery of a press conference yesterday. Again, spitting in the fans' faces that watch that. An absolute joke. I mean, how are we supposed to be fans of this team? Again, they go out there, sure, they have good effort half the time, bad effort half the time. The core of players we have here sucks, okay? There's no other way to put it. Right? This core of players, they don't mesh well at all. The defense is sharp and soft. You have no one in front of the net to protect the goalie. Luukkonen, again, is having a good year statistically wise, but again, how many saves do you want him to make? Utah just peppered the Sabres today. This is a team that should not pepper the Sabres. This is a team that plays a very defensive style of hockey. They have good goaltending, and they win close games or lose, in close games. 5 goals against us, I mean, and 0 in the first, it just shows the absolute collapse. I don't even want to hear they didn't have Dowling today. It doesn't matter. Dennis Gilbert comes in. Good. He brings some fire to the team, brings some physicality, what they're lacking. Everyone else is just so soft. I mean, Henry Jokiharju, he has to go. He's an absolute joke of a hockey player. I'm so sick of the guy. Again, just skating the wrong way. Has no idea, no defensive awareness whatsoever. Again, Owen Power, sure. Again, he's got to develop, but right now he is one of the softest players out there. Cannot take a check for his life, and he's about 2 times the size as me. So what a joke of a player that is. Again, he's going to be good. Let's not be too worried about him, right? His offensive upside's been crazy, but defensively, an absolute train wreck. Bowen Byram's your best defenseman right now, which, should not be the case. Forward-wise, nobody scores. Again, today, Tyson Kozak, of all people, gets the first goal. If half of your goals come from Tyson Kozak, this would be 2 nights in a row if the absolute BS call of goaltender interference didn't get changed in the last game. You have a major issue. Yuri Kulik gets the other goal. Good for him, finally on the board. Again, he has a high upside. But where are these players from the core? Where are these 7-year, big money guys that Kevin Adams keeps signing? They don't show up. And why is that? Because they don't mesh together and they're not worth the money they're paying them. With that being said, speaking of wasted money, how about the 10% of the cap that we just don't use season to season? Again, who is it? Is it Kevin Adams is just the biggest fraud of all time, or is Terry Pegula in his ear telling him he cannot spend the money? Regardless, I'll say it. I say it every single stream. I say it every single video, every single year, since we started this YouTube channel. If your goal as an owner is not to win hockey games and, make the playoffs, then you have to sell the team. That is the only reason to own a sports team, right? Win, make the playoffs, win championships. Terry Pegula has yet to do that with either team he has. And again, got lucky with the Bills. We'll see if a Super Bowl comes, but I'm not hopeful with the way the city rolls. The Sabres haven't made the playoffs in 13, going on 14 years if they don't make it this year, barring some, miraculous turnaround because the East was a cupcake this year, and they fumbled it, and now teams are starting to get going, and the Sabres are still near the bottom of the standings. So, again, there's still time to figure it out. Let me know in the comments section below who should get fired, what should change, but you might have to just restart again. Again, I don't know if they're saving this. This team, again, I could have told you before the season started this team was going nowhere. Your biggest acquisition was a head coach. You brought in nobody to give the fans hope. Oh, Beck Malenstein, Sam Lafferty. Who cares? Again, we see Tyson Kozak, a mid-tier AHL player at best, come up here, and he already looks better than all of the bottom 6 guys Kevin Adams brought in. Then we look at some of the other guys he traded for. Ryan McLeod. Yeah, he wins faceoffs, but he's not a game changer, right? He's a good piece, whatever. Jason Zucker, about the only positive I'll give Kevin Adams this offseason. Zucker has looked good. He gets shots on the net. He brings that veteran presence that we desperately need. Again, still one of the youngest teams in hockey, but we're just going to let it roll out. We're just going to, keep getting old bums on the bottom six and then let our, 19-year-olds try to figure it out. Again, that's something a team in a rebuild does. That's something a team in the first, 3 years of a rebuild does that's trying to just make the playoffs. We're in year 14 of the rebuild, and nothing has changed. Again, Dennis Gilbert in the lineup. Again, how is that your case, right? I get Dahlin's hurt, but you don't have any more depth than Dennis Gilbert and Henry Jokiharju? Again, 2 years now. We've been hearing for 2 years straight Kevin Adams say, Owen Power will be fine. We just have to find him a good defensive partner to make him confident. They failed to do that. And then they're going to complain about his development. Of course he's not going to play good. He's playing with Henry Jokiharju, one of the worst, advanced analytically, one of the worst players in the NHL this season and last season. Again, he just stands at the point, and this coaching system is an absolute joke too. You bring in Lindy Ruff, who is the complete opposite of what this team would run under, right? You bring him in, maybe he'll bring some toughness. Lindy Ruff plays good with a veteran, heavy presence type of group out there on the ice, right? He's looking for chippy goals. The group he acquired from Kevin Adams and, from Don Granato's regime is anything but physical around the net. They just slap it from the point. They try to do trick goals, and they have zero defensive awareness whatsoever. We saw the true identity of this core a couple seasons ago when they lost games 6-7, 5-7, right? Zero defense whatsoever. Just get the shots on the net. Now you bring in a new coaching staff, which, again, this is the 10th coaching staff of the rebuild, and everything has to change again. Nobody knows what they're doing in the system, and it's just a learning process. And I get it, right? You can't fire Lindy Ruff. Why would you fire Lindy Ruff? You have to give him at least 2 years to right the wrong and implement his system. But for anyone that expected playoffs this year, and again, Kevin Adams, he said it, so I can use it. The time is now. What is now? Again, we're having the same season we've had the last 13 years in a row, -1. There's no change, right? There's zero effort out there for at least a third of the game. There's zero physicality whatsoever besides guys you bring up from the AHL like Dennis Gilbert, Tyson Kozak can get chippy. Again, your core group of players are soft as can be. And it doesn't help that Jack Quinn's been invisible. Dylan Cousins has been invisible this year. It's just an absolute mockery of the city. And again, I don't know how people watch it. Again, if I didn't run this page and didn't run this the Instagram account and all that, I don't know if I could watch this team. It's just an absolute joke to cover. I apologize to anyone who is just a fan of this team. It's been an absolute miserable drought era. Again, it can be fixed, though, like we've seen with the Bills. Droughts end, and eventually things come around. But in a league where half the teams make the playoffs and the Sabres are going on year 14 of not doing it, you can't blame GMs, you can't blame coaches or players. It starts with the owner. And there's one thing that's been consistent the entirety of the drought, and it's Terry Pegula. So it's time to sell it, buddy. Again, I get it. You're trying to hold on to it for your kids to buy, but maybe pass it down a little sooner than expected because you are an absolute fraud. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, he's done a good job with the Bills, and we can keep doing what we're doing over there. But with the Sabres, change is imminent. Change needs to happen. Change happens after every season here. Have a good one.